What's up, YouTube? This is the Almighty Croak with you, and today we're at our third week of the NBL for Nuevo League, and we're against Rod in our third battle. We're currently 2-0. We're going to see if we can snag a victory this turn. So we're going to go over a brief overview of my team. I have Hydreigon, who is Choice Scarfed. I have Excadrill on an air balloon. I have Cloyster, who is Focus Sashed. Florges, who is my specially defensive wall. Venusaur, who is my Mega. And Quagsire, who is my defensive tank. And my opponent Rod has Slowbro, who I assume is a wall. Alakazam. So now we see two potential megas with Slowbro and Alakazam. Then we have Mamoswine, Donphan, Honchkrow, and Halucha. And we're seeing a lot of physical attacker on my opponent's side. So, without further ado, let's begin this battle. Here you go. So I decide to lead off with Hydreigon. That way, whatever Pokemon he decides to lead off with, I could just U-turn out. And he decides to lead off with Halucha. So, being an unfavorable matchup, I don't want to stay, so I use U-turn to get out. But I activate his red card, and I did not expect it to force the switch. I was expecting to go back and being able to switch out. But instead, my floor just goes in, which is not what I wanted to do. And he's able to set up a sword stance. And that's the reason I actually brought up my Quagsire to to be able to counter Pokemon that wants to set up. So now I go for Protect the Scout, and I was expecting a high jump kick, but he goes for Acrobatic. So I withdraw and go into my Quagsire. My Quagsire is unaware, so his sword stance doesn't mean anything. And he goes for Acrobatic. It does a decent amount, and he takes damage from the Rocky Helmet. So now he goes for Acrobatic again, and I go for the Scald, hoping for the burn. And here we see that it does a decent amount, and I actually get the burn, which is huge for me. So now he's gonna lose huge chunk of damage with Rocky Helmet and burn. And he goes for the high jump kick, doing as much damage as possible, but I take the occasion to recover since I was expecting to live the high jump kick after the burn damage. So now I recover a huge amount of HP, and the burn takes him down. So Quagsire snags a KO on the Halucha, and now he goes out into Alakazam. I'm expecting the Energy Ball, and I don't want to stay with my Quagsire, seeing that it could take a few hits from all of his other Pokemon. So I go into Forges, because I know my Forges can take a special hit. And I see that his Alakazam is actually his Mega. So now he Mega Evolve, and he traces my Flower Veil, but it's completely useless. So now he goes for Substitute, which is a good play on my opponent's part. And he goes for the Psyshock as I go for the Moonblast, trying to do as much damage as possible. And Psyshock actually does a huge amount of damage with the crit that he receives. And I'm able to land off a Moonblast. And seeing that he doesn't really have any other special attackers than Alakazam on his team, my Hydreigon can take care of it. So right here I decide that it's better to sack off my Florges, because I know it won't be useful later on. But he goes for the Shadow Ball, which doesn't really matter right here. So now my Florges go down, and I take the occasion to go into my Hydreigon. Just I could U-turn out or go for the Dark Pulse. I go for the Dark Pulse because whatever is going to come in is going to take a huge hit, except the Honchkrow, but I don't see why he would come into Honchkrow. So he goes for the Donphan, and he takes that Dark Pulse relatively well. I'm guessing it's a Solid Vest, and I don't want to go for U-turn because he's going to use... I'm predicting the Ice Shard. So instead I go into my Venusaur, and he goes for the knockoff, which won't do any damage since I'm the Venusaur is my Mega. So now I take the occasion to Mega Evolve and go for a Giga Drain to take the health that was taken away from me from the knockoff. And it does a huge amount of damage on the Donphan, which is enough to KO it. So Donphan goes down, and I recuperate most of my health back. Yeah, no, I recuperate all of my health back. So now he goes down to Honchkrow. I do not want to take a Brave Bird from the Honchkrow, especially that my Venusaur is not invested in speed. So I go out into my Quagsire to take the incoming Brave Bird. And Quagsire is not going to take that Brave Bird at all. My Quagsire goes down. He's gonna take some Rocky Helmet damage. I feel like sneezing. So yeah, Rocky Helmet damage plus Brave Bird recoil, and we see the Moxie that activates. Then he loses his HP to Life Orb, so it's like almost half of his HP gone. So I go out into my Cloister, and I'm expecting the Brave Bird. So I set up a Shell Smash since I have the Focus Sash anyways. And next turn I'm gonna outspeed the Cloister with the Ice Shard if he wants to go for Sucker Punch or not, seeing that he had Life Orb earlier. So it does a huge amount on my Cloister. I survive with 1 HP on with the Focus Sash, and he loses a lot of health again, which puts him well beyond KO range of my Ice Shard. So Honcho goes down, and Cloister has a hit as a KO. So now he goes out into Mamoswine. I'm fearing the Ice Shard, but I decide to risk it and go for Rock Blast. But unfortunately, I miss my attack right here, and he's able to set up his rocks, his stealth rocks, and I'm decided to go for Rock Blast again. Maybe he was expecting the Ice Shard and he would overpredict, but unfortunately he goes for Ice Shard. So my Cloister goes down, and now I send out my Venusaur to deal with the Mamoswine, but he withdraws and he goes into Slowbro, if I remember. Yep. And Slowbro does not do anything to Smash except die to my Venusaur's Giga Drain. So Giga Drain does a huge amount of damage on the Slowbro, and Slowbro goes down this turn with another Giga Drain, which is enough to take it out, KO it. And I guess he wanted to use it as switch fodder so that he can bring out his Alakazam. But I don't want to stay in on my Venusaur while his Alakazam is out there, and he traces my Thick Fat. So I withdraw and go into my Hydreigon, which could have been very dangerous had he had the Dazzling Gleam, but he told me later on that he doesn't. He had Energy Ball and Shadow Ball and Substitute, which Substitute isn't really useful on Alakazam. I prefer Protect, but it's okay. I go for the Dark Pulse. I wanted to go for U-turn, but I played a little too fast right here. So Dark Pulse goes off and KOs and takes out the Alakazam. Not takes out, breaks the Alakazam sub. So now I get a special defense drop. With my Alakazam, he withdraws as I go for the Dark Pulse again since I'm Scarfed. And it's going to do a decent amount on the Mamoswine, but I don't want to take a nice shard from the Mamoswine because I'm not going to take it well. So I withdraw and I go into my Excadrill expecting the Ice Shard. And if you wanted to go for Earthquake, well, maybe expecting the Venusaur to come in or whatever else, I could evade it with my Air Balloon. But now he goes for the Ice Shard on my Excadrill, which does a decent amount of damage on him as I go up for the Earthquake, and it's able to snag the KO on the Mamoswine. So Mamoswine goes down. So now my opponent's last Pokemon is Alakazam. So I don't feel like switching, especially that if my Excadrill just doesn't survive, I can go out into my Hydreigon and finish this match. So I go for the Earthquake, and as he goes for the Shadow Ball, and my Excadrill takes the hit and is able to KO the Alakazam with an Earthquake, especially that Alakazam's defenses are pretty frail. So this is a victory for me. So we're currently at 3-0 in the NBL season. So stay tuned for our next match, and if you like my video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye bye.